We are now in the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah leading up to the Hajj. And there's great significance in what the Hajj means for our life and our expression on this earth. Uh, could you give some discussion to how we are to look at this time and what meaning it has for us?
You know, Hajj is for all of us. Hajj, obligation. Word means necessity, necessity. Um, but everybody doesn't can't participate in it. The instruction of the Prophet was that if you can make Hajj, if you're able, he made that a part of the requirement if you're able to make it. So, what is the essential discussion here? What is the Hajj? What is the central discussion, the central matter? It's the conclusion of life. We all have a share in the conclusion, but we can't all participate in it. We don't all have the resources, or the stamina, or the interest or knowledge. But it has to be claimed and it has to be worked for. It has to be struggled for. So everything in the Hajj ritual is a discussion on that movement in the consciousness of man, in the consciousness of human life. The circumambulation of the Kaaba, the Tawaf, when we're going around the Kaaba, it has many important meanings. All right, but at the center of the meaning is the reality that nothing is accessible for us in terms of progress except that we first focus the dignity of man. Dignity of human life is the foundation, and that dignity is revealed. It's in the nature. It's discoverable in the nature, but God made it, and He revealed it as a possibility for our discovery. So the sojourn, the struggle in that process is commemorated in our tawaf, going around the Kaaba, and sa'i, which is going between the two hills, the struggle between the two hills. And Allah says in the Quran, uh, man can have nothing but what he strives for. Illa bimassa'a, nothing but what he strives for. So the nature of movement, and then it says, and the objective of his struggle will come into view. It will come into view. So the correctness and the error of what you're struggling for will come into view. It'll come into view for you, it'll come into view for others as well. But struggle in our particular contexts is also essential. We have our own contexts, personal contexts, social contexts, ethnic contexts, cultural contexts, wherein we have to struggle to establish our dignity upon the pattern of universal human dignity under God's authority. That's also commemorated. In that movement, there is enlightenment. There is clarity of expression. And when we come to that enlightenment and that clarity of expression, then we have the obligation to invite others to share in that understanding. That is the social bonding of man and the social responsibility of man. And Prophet Muhammad said that there is no Hajj without that. That is Arafat. But there is also the influence of man's enemy to instruct and to direct man's life in society to challenge God's plan. So, in the course of enlightenment and the discussion of enlightenment and uh, discourse of enlightenment, there must also be an inclusion where that enlightenment focuses a discussion on defeating the strategies of the enemy of man. So we stone the devil. We stone the little one that influences us individually, and we stone the big one that wants to take over command authority of the earth and all governments and every expression of society, wants to take control of it. We stone that one too. Ultimately, the objective is what? To pay tribute to the edifice that God has created when he created a human person, to pay tribute to it and to derive from it every bit of knowledge that God intends for us to construct the proper home to accommodate the common healthy aspirations of man. That's our ultimate aim. And once we have that, we have to be prepared to distribute it to those who have been shut out of it. So this constitutes and explains the sacrifice. So all of the rituals are connected to this enlightenment movement. And there is a resilience and a humbling. And we say when we're in the holy precincts, in the moments that are associated with the Hajj ritual, we say that here I am, Lord, in my innocence, in my vulnerability, that what you have made me is my salvation. That's what we're saying. And we, as you know, we put on the baby clothing, the clothing of an infant, the clothing of a newborn. Gives no attention to national origin, ethnic origin, none of that. And what we anticipate or aspire to is based upon that origin. So if we try to participate in the Hajj ritual without the ihram, we'll be repelled. You can't do that. None of us can have the dignity that God intends for us just because we belong to some particular race or some particular American or a particular country citizenship, including American citizenship or any other. A passport, that doesn't mean anything in that context. It has no meaning at all in that context. The only thing that has meaning is your vulnerability and complete dependence upon God. And from that is built your dignity and your destiny. And you take that consciousness or that enlightenment back to your society, back to your nation. So it's not a rejection of your ethnicity or your nationality. It's a fulfillment of your human identity and reestablishes what should be your commitment as a person of faith that the environments where you live invite to that awareness and that dignity. So when you put back on your national dress, which you're required to do, and you don't hesitate to leave that environment and go back, you're supposed to go back with that renewed influence. And incidentally, um, I had may have mentioned this to Imam Ibrahim, but I thought that maybe within the next uh, couple of years that we should plan to make Hajj together as a Hajj delegation, and in a way commemorating Imam W. D. Muhammad's influence of his leadership and the history of our community.